Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
About 5 years ago, I had I'll call it a minor disagreement with somebody I respect. I certainly respected then, I respect now. It was nothing explosive, no shouting, no slamming doors, we weren't even in the same city, no hanging up on one another. Just one of those moments where something felt, off. Words were said, assumptions were made, and like happens far too often in life, we just moved on. Or at least that's what I told myself. But here's the truth, I didn't move on. That moment stuck with me. Not every day, not constantly, but it's kind of like a pebble in my shoe, right? Always kind of feeling it. It was uncomfortable. And every now and then, I'd think about it and wonder, did I handle that wrong? Did he think less of me? So I fast forward 5 years. We reconnected, right? And within minutes, I'm saying minutes, we're talking about it. That moment, right? And here's what stunned me. He had been carrying it too. Same situation, same weight, same questions. And just like that, we both said what probably should have been said 5 years earlier. We're both to blame. We each could have handled it differently, better. But since then, I couldn't stop thinking about this, that all that time, I assumed he wasn't thinking about it. And all that time, he probably assumed I wasn't thinking about it. We were both wrong. Both wrong in how we handled it, and both wrong in assuming that the other one, it wasn't bothering the other person. So here's the question. How many relationships are you sitting in right now where you have a similar situation? That's known as the thought gap. And that concept is based on, the concept was generated by a gentleman at the Wharton School of Business, Gus Cooney. And essentially what his research is showing is that we underestimate how much others think about us. We think that people aren't thinking about us, and we're probably wrong. He also came up with a concept called the liking gap. We assume people like us less than they do. And I did an episode on that some time ago. So what's happening here is that we live in our own heads. We see our doubts, we see our flaws, we fixate on those awkward moments, and we assume others don't give it another thought. But in reality, other people that we've been involved with, they replay those conversations that we've had, they replay those interactions, and people assign meaning to what they say and do, and are probably worried about us just like we're worried about the conversation we had with them. It's kind of like, it's a metaphor. It's kind of like throwing a stone in a pond. You toss it in and walk away. But the ripples keep moving after you've left. That's your words. That's your actions. That's your presence. So these are the networking implications from all of this. I'm bringing it all home. And there's only three that I'll give you. You could probably come up with more. Number one, you're more memorable than you think. That quick conversation at a meeting, that follow-up email, the referral you pass, you may think it was small. They don't. So be sure to show up intentionally, speak with purpose, and follow up consistently, because people are thinking about you even when you're not in the room. And that's a powerful thing, that the things we do have a lasting effect. Again, it's like that stone thrown in the water. You're creating something and it's moving onward. Second implication, unresolved moments don't just disappear, right? Go back to my story. You know what? Something was said, I can't even remember the genesis of it, the disagreement, but there was something there. It was an awkward exchange, kind of a tense moment. It didn't end right. There was a tension there. And we ended, it was a Zoom call. We ended the Zoom call, and the tension, it continued to bother me. It was there. I assumed they forgot about it. I assumed it's like, that Frank, he's an a-hole or whatever, and just didn't think about it at all. But they didn't. they stayed silent about it. Neither of us reached out and tried to resolve it, but it kind of, again, back to the metaphor of having a stone in your shoe, right? It just kind of irritated them and irritated them. And how it all got resolved was they reached out to me and said, hey, we should catch up. And that was, we weren't catching up to kind of talk on that moment. That wasn't really the first thing that was said, but it was on each of our minds. And I actually brought it up. I said, I just want to talk about something that happened between us a few years ago. And there was this uncomfortable little chuckle. Yeah, that wasn't my best moment either. So, and his quote was, sometimes my ego gets in the way, or my ego gets the best of me. The application or the resolution to this is address things sooner, right? Maybe not in the moment. Sometimes it's hard. Emotions are high. Words are said. But don't wait 5 years. Don't wait 5 years. Never too soon to say, hey, I'm sorry. I could have done that better. Let's talk. Let's clear the air. Or, you know what? There's so much good between us that this one little pebble in our shoe, if you will, shouldn't take this relationship down. Here's the final networking implication to all of this, to the thought gap. And this is probably the big one. Your reputation is being built in rooms you're not in. Think about that. If people are thinking about you more than you realize, then your reputation isn't just what you say, it's what people replay. It's what people tell other people. It's how other people refer you, how other people talk about you, who they're going to introduce you to. Your consistency in being a great person will carry on into rooms that you will never enter. Your reputation of being generous or somebody who's kind will be talked about by other people that you probably will never meet. Ditto with respect to your follow through. Those things will have a lasting impact for you. And here's my sports metaphor. Just got to throw one in here, but it's like studying film and sports. You think the game is over, but people are still watching the tape. People are still watching tendencies. Still people are talking about good games and bad games and things that happened and so on and so forth. So here's the application. Be referral worthy, be introduction worthy at all times. At all times. Be consistent, be someone worth thinking about for all the right reasons. And I know that's not easy. That's easier said than done. I've already shared my own failings, and it's probably one of dozens. I'm a work in progress, so are you. But it's something that we need to be thinking about, the whole notion of the thought gap. Now, I know some of you are listening to this and thinking, oh no, people are thinking about me. That's not the takeaway. The takeaway is this, is that you have more influence than you realize. Your kindness lingers, your professionalism lingers, your generosity lingers, and yes, so do your mistakes. And while all of that is true, here is the good news. You can always step back in and rewrite the narrative, just as I did in my story. Or actually, he was the one who reached out to me. So let's go back to that moment, 5 years ago. 5 years of assumptions, 5 years of thinking he's probably not thinking about it, and 5 years where the truth was he was. And here's the part that really sticks with me. It took less than 5 minutes to fix what was there for 5 years. 5 minutes. This should make you wonder, what conversations are you avoiding right now that could be resolved in 5 minutes? What relationships are sitting in silence because you and another assume the other doesn't care? And here's the big question. What if people are thinking about you right now more than you realized? Because they are. So don't leave your relationships to assumptions. Don't let that thought gap linger. Don't let time do the talking. Pick up the phone, send an email, however you do it, text, and start the conversation. Because in networking, as in life, it's not just about who you know, it's about what they're thinking when you're not there, and whether you're willing to step back and reshape it.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connections. All rights reserved.